1 year ago today, life in Oregon was normal. Kids went to school.
The trailing Lillard for
Fans went to games. Masks weren't a thing. The news led with politics and weather.
Day 2 of the Senate Republican walkout, and now
55 behind Vancouver, Portland 54.
Not infection rates and vaccine rollouts, and certainly not 500,000 Americans dead of the same cause. That said, 1 year ago today, the virus was here. It was here in Oregon, and it was here at Kaiser Permanente Westside Medical Center in Hillsborough. But no one knew it yet. His name is Hector Calderon, and this is video of the day he left that Hillsborough hospital having won his battle. Calderon was the first Oregonian to test positive for COVID-19. It happened 1 year ago this Sunday.
Had it hit you recently, or had it occurred to you that it's been almost a year exactly? Like, was that on your radar at all?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, and it hasn't even hit me.
The doctors and nurses at Kaiser Westside were just as scared as the rest of us, especially Dr. Katie Scharf.
My children actually went to the school where Mr. Calderon worked.
Students at Forest Hills Elementary had heard their janitor was in the hospital. He'd been feeling sick for days. Dr. Scharf brought Calderon a get well card from her son's first grade class. That's when Scharf, an infectious disease physician, noticed oddities in his case.
What about his symptoms did not add up, or what struck you as odd?
You know, he was a young, healthy man and was so incredibly ill.
At that point, this new mystery virus had popped up in other states, including Washington. But ICU nurse Eric Cathy remembered thinking the idea of Calderon having COVID-19 seemed so far-fetched. Still,
everything's coming back on this guy negative, and there's no reason why this young guy should be as sick as he is.
Doctors sent for a test just to be safe.
Our top story tonight, the first presumed case of coronavirus in Oregon.
February 28th was a Friday.
I had a text message from my colleague saying, "Call me ASAP, COVID positive."
KGW's Mike Benner's in the newsroom.
The news broke early that evening.
Yeah, it became surreal.
The reaction was swift. Industrial cleaning crews and hazmat suits scrubbed that Lake Oswego school. Cathy and those who had cared for Calderon were ordered to quarantine. They hadn't been wearing masks when he first arrived. There is something else you should know about Hector Calderon's case. In addition to being the first case in Oregon, he was also the second American to contract the virus without coming into contact with someone who had traveled. It's called community spread, and it was alarming.
And it was like, wow, this is really happening. It's here, it's not just, we can't contain it necessarily, it's now.
No one knew it then, but Calderon's battle would last months. After first experiencing symptoms on February 19th and testing positive on the 28th, the then 46-year-old would be on a ventilator for 60 days through March and April, the time when the rest of the world was effectively shutting down.
It was just a lot of teams and a lot of, just a lot of resources just to take care of just one person.
As patients piled up, Calderon's case proved just how ruthless COVID could be. He was one of the first Americans to be treated with remdesivir, an experimental drug later used on President Trump. Still, his road was hard, and staff were very afraid.
I've seen so many people in his shoes pre-COVID that could have wrote them off and said, they're not gonna, I could have bet my life on Calderon not surviving this hospital stay.
Dr. Scharf was getting questions at home.
Especially my son, who knew him well from school, would ask on a daily basis. And just trying to say, he's being cared for by an excellent team of healthcare workers, and they are all working their best for him.
That continued until early May. Then, a shift.
I do remember when he started to turn a corner.
After more than 2 months in the hospital, Calderon's condition started to improve. he came off the ventilator.
It was amazing to see him recover. Was such a great feeling.
May 5th, 2020, an announcement. Oregon's first COVID case would not be counted among the lives lost. Calderon gave this brief interview to Kaiser staff.
Thank you so much for all your hard work and dedicated all your time to me. My family and I, we are so thankful for, and thank you for everything. God bless you.
Minutes later, he left the hospital to a parade and a mariachi band. Staff had promised that to him throughout his battle. Hector Calderon's recovery continued after that day. He went to a skilled nursing center for physical therapy. Today, he is considered recovered, and he's back at work at Forest Hills Elementary.
The biggest lessons I learned from Hector, one is just how inspiring an individual patient can be to really, this sounds corny, but it can really change your career and change your life to see someone so sick and then turn around like that.